and at receiving this honorary doctorate through his hands and the hands of the President and the Dean and the Board of Trustees, and my very fine colleague and friend, Kent Long, out of UCLA, Los Angeles. I can simply tell you that it makes me feel very much at home. It makes me sense that maybe life is very much worthwhile going on, struggling. Above all, it gives me new incentive to try to increase the work that I feel I yet want to do in especially Los Angeles. So I thank all of the figures I've named and the board, and I thank all of you for your presence here and for acknowledging my presence in this fashion. Of course, this is your day, the graduating class of 2012, and I want to extend also with Dr. Liebman, congratulations to you. You've had 2 or 3 excellent commencement speeches already. You're being urged to do what we need done in our country today. I want just to add to that one thing. I can see from your many faces and complexions and all that you represent a generation of very unusual graduates in this season of commencements of 212. You represent people, as already been said, who have mixed your work, families, and learning all in one great package. I hope that this for you has been an exhilarating experience, and an experience that you will always remember, but also an experience that has encouraged you in the direction of becoming a whole human being, not a fragmented or a fragile person, but a whole person. There perhaps is no greater need in our country right now for whole human beings, whole men and women, than today. We're engaged in a political election in which much of the discourse does not recognize you as like maybe 310 million of us who have had all our lives to combine family and work and learning, getting our degrees as one package, not as separate pieces, but all essential for becoming fully alive, fully laboring, fully loving, fully living, because that, after all, is what this marvelous gift of life that each of us have been given is about. Nothing less than that is worthy of the gift. You don't have to be religious, it seems to me, in the formal sense of the word, to recognize that the beginning of this nation of ours was in the very quarrelsome time, the 1700s, that produced the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. We're probably one of the few nations that began with that heroic statement. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all, and you can use men in this generic form, I prefer all people, or just simply all, are created equal, that all are endowed with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, this most important document that said the 13 colonies had a right to declare their independence of the monarchy of Great Britain acknowledges that you and I did not come here by accident. The gift of living and birth is a gift from creation, Creator, from the God, from creation itself. And I want to mark for just a moment how unique is that gift? Many of the biologists of the 20th century have said that there's been about 50 million living species in the long history of the earth. 50 million species. That includes, of course, the ants and the bugs and the trees and the flowers. But they've acknowledged that of all the 50 million species that have existed in the history of the earth, only one species, we gathered here, this representative group here, only one species has learned to sing, learned to think, learned to gather families, learned to nurture babies and children. We're the only species that learned language. We're the only species that's learned to write philosophy and poetry, to paint pictures, to create music and sculptures and art. We're the only species that's developed a civilization that's brought together science and the arts and religion and all the rest. That makes us quite unique. Maybe that's why in the first chapter of the Hebrew Christian Bible, it is said that God said, let us make human beings. Let us make human beings in the image and likeness of God. The only species that we know anything about in all of the vast universe. There are 300,000 galaxies. Already, the astronomers have discovered at least 300 other planets across the universe. The only species we know living that's like ourselves. That gives us a distinctive responsibility. So much of the discussion today in the United States does no justice to who we are as a human race, or to what you've accomplished in your lives thus far, or to the goals and purposes and tasks that are yet yours. So not only do I commend you, but I insist that let this achievement be for you a road mark in the highway of your own life. Insist that it represents, not only using the word that has been used in the platform already, continuation, but a fresh burst of your life in the directions that creation would want you to go. The greatness of our nation, I want to proclaim, is not the wealth or the technology, or the military power. Military installations in 130 countries, more than 800 of them. Fleets of battleships and airplanes on every continent, covering every ocean. Nothing like that has ever happened in the 1 or 2 million journey of the human race. The greatness of this nation, no matter what the headlines say about the debates in Congress or the legislatures in the states, the greatness of this people is not any of that. The greatness of this people, we the people. We the people. That's your greatness and my greatness and all of our greatness. I don't think in recent years our state governments or our national governments have blessed the 310 million residents of this land of ours. I speak as a United Methodist pastor of some nearly 50 years. I speak as an activist who's been in jails for causes from Los Angeles to Los Los Angeles, from Ohio to Florida, including Tennessee, Kentucky, and Mississippi, and West Virginia. I speak as one who's read assiduously across the years about our land, about our people, but watched and listened to people over the years. I do not think that plantation capitalism in the United States has been very helpful to the working families of America. I do not think the Chamber of Commerce and the hedge funds and the big banks are really friendly to all of these children who are here. I think what I see and read and hear can be destructive of us, all of us. We need you to re-energize working families all across our country and to re-energize the movement of unions. I happen to think, as I read the 20th century history, that the standard of living that many of us have been able to achieve has had a major ally in the organization